60 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You have 60 seconds to comply. This is minute 53.
Part man.
Part machine.
All part.
This minute begins with Robocop seeing Murphy's face for the first time and ends with Robo Real Estate Agent giving the sales pitch on Murphy's house.
My first comment is, I'm really glad this wasn't a 14.4K modem. Okay, so a little bit behind the scenes. We were literally just talking about internet, and I forgot that I wrote that note.
It's all connected. So in Murphy's records, it says that he received something called the Miranda Award. I guess it's relates to the Miranda rights, but no such thing exists. No. And he was also awarded for bravery and good conduct.
Yeah, this must have been all at the Metro West or East, whichever the one he was originally at. No, what's interesting is, so none of that extra detail is in the script or the book, but the actual address, for whatever reason, in the original script was 312B Primrose Lane. Yeah. Oh, it's also should note that the Alex J in the script in the book is Alex James. So
okay. I was going to talk about the real location for the house, but also I was going to talk about what the Miranda.
I forgot to look into that.
Yeah, the Miranda rights are and why it's called Miranda. I don't know which one's more interesting, but
it's clearly named after the actress Miranda Otto.
Yes,
That's the first Miranda I could think of.
Fairly obscure reference. Yeah, so it was. So you will not hear the Miranda rights referenced before 1966, which sounds pretty recent, you know. But yeah, I've never encountered it in an old movie. So Miranda versus Arizona from 1966 was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court, in which the court ruled that the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution restricts prosecutors from using a person's statements made in response to interrogation in police custody as evidence at their trial, unless they can show that the person was informed of the right to consult with an attorney before and during questioning, and of the right against self-incrimination before police questioning. So yeah.
It's not a perfect system because there's still coercion. There's still a lot of bullshit that happens in all the policing systems.
Oh yeah, they'll like lock you in a room for hours and yell at you, and be like, "Yeah, see, they confessed, yeah, because you
tortured them to death.
You basically tortured them, yeah. Sometimes withholding people's medications or depriving them of sleep. Yeah, good job there. But Ernesto Miranda is who it's named after, and he died in 1976. I mean, he sounds like a real son of a bitch, but...
Probably was.
Yeah. Yeah, so he didn't really live long enough to see his name sort of go down in history. That must be so bizarre. Could you imagine, you do some stupid shit back in the 60s and you're watching TV in 2021 or whatever, and someone's saying, read me my Miranda rights or whatever. It's like, they're referencing me. That's so weird.
Well, just imagine, I was going to say, like the whole, like, you go to sleep and then 50 years up, you wake up from a coma or something like that, and like, but I guess it's Miranda is just... Okay, so I made the joke that, I said Miranda Otto. That's like, it's not a weird enough name that it's unique, but yeah, it would probably weird to be like all these years going, hey, I'm responsible for that. I don't know, maybe you got some, I don't know. I was going to say, maybe you got some kicks out of it, but I'm thinking those kicks might have been at the end of some police officers' boots. Ironically enough, which is one of the reasons why we need Miranda rights. Anyway.
Yeah, so the house. I love the Murphy's house because...
just before we get to it, how good is this establishing shot? It's POV, so immediately in the boots of Robocop as he's approaching. So you got the Robo Vision. You've got good text on screen to tell you what's going on, and it sets the scene, and the music is just on point as well. God damn, this is good.
And that's, I mean, we were talking about that in the last minute, just music is so important in creating the mood of a film. I mean, film is such an audio-visual language, and the remake doesn't seem to understand that. But especially when you have characters that aren't capable of emoting, you will notice.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't watched enough things to really study my theory, my hypothesis here, but characters who aren't able to facially emote, the music tends to have to amp it up a bit. So Robocop and The Matrix, Don Davis's score for those movies, so that
Yes. So good.
Yeah, like you immediately, it's so big.
Yeah. Everyone thinks about, like, you know, the lobby music, but really that score is phenomenally good.
Don Davis did not get enough credit for it, because everyone's like, oh, well, the Rob Dugan stuff and the Juno reactor stuff and the, you know, the things that already existed, the found music or the jukebox stuff, I guess you could say, almost.
Yeah.
The playlist.
No, I want to see a Matrix jukebox musical now.
Oh, I really would, actually. Is that just basically the MTV Spawn movie? I don't know.
I forgot that thing exists.
But yes.
Spawn.
So I think Robocop is a movie that absolutely requires... I actually don't know who composed it, but it requires a distinctive soundtrack because your character isn't capable of conveying a lot of that himself.
So the composer is Basil Polderis.
Yeah, I think we talked about it early on, but I don't think I knew any of his other...
He's worked with Verhoeven on a couple of his films, including Starship Troopers.
I would know
the
that.
score on Starship Troopers is phenomenally good.
Yeah.
Especially because it's propaganda.
So the house was filmed at 9233 Church Road in Lake Highlands, which is north of Dallas. And if you look on Google Maps, it looks pretty much the same today, which is, I always love that. You can just, it's very surreal. You get to see this location under totally different cameras, lenses, settings, lighting, whatever. But it's still the same place.
Yeah, I think this is the first time in this movie we've actually seen Robocop in daylight. That wasn't like on media break, you know, where it's like with the kids, so it's already kind of got like a filter and stuff like that on it. This is the first time we see Robocop in natural light, in the full frame.
Oh, true.
I think he still looks great.
Yeah, it doesn't kill the illusion at all.
Yeah, the light bouncing on him. The car, not so much. You really, that's what I love about this. You can really see how kind of shitty the Turbo Cruisers look. Like how beaten up, the paint job's not that great. The stickers a bit shit.
Flat. Well, that's the thing. If you do matte paint, it can look cheap. I love matte paint done well, but it's a you really got to know what you're doing, and you're better off doing a wrap technically. But
for this, I think it works very well because these cars are supposed to be a bit beaten up because, you know, they're underfunded.
Yeah, it shouldn't look pristine. It should be a little grungy. I mean, the whole movie is a little bit grungy and grimy. If this was like Star Trek, you go, oh, that's killing the illusion. It's supposed to be this utopian, perfect, But what were we saying? Oh, yeah, so I hope that we are able to preserve records of Google Maps or just the internet, photos, videos, all that, because it's a shame we've only had cameras going back a little over a century, so that the deep past is just, it becomes this unknowable, unrelatable thing. It's so hard to fathom, oh yeah, those people were just people. You know, if we could see photos or videos of people in ancient Egypt, it would so dispel any of those, the mythologizing I think we do.
Yes.
And
well, it's from a visual image point of view, what we get throughout most of history is not history. We've got typically a rich or a powerful person's hiring an artist to create a vision of history. It's very rare that we actually have real visual documentation of historical events. It's always got some filter through it.
So being able to, I mean, it's such a minor thing, but being able to look at this location in Robocop from about 40 years ago and now. You take it for granted, but that is incredible. That is such a new ability we have now, and you can even go back in time to, I think, about 2009 when they started doing the Google Maps project. So I've gone back to some of my childhood homes, and like there's my dad walking towards the 4-wheel drive he used to have. And I was like, whoa, that moment is trapped in time forever, and it means nothing to anyone else.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw a satellite image of my own house was about 2001. It was before Google Images, and there was someone had put, I can't remember which agency had put up satellite imagery for free on the internet, so you could. It wasn't as advanced as Google Earth is. You can just type in an address. You really kind of just had to kind of visually try and find things, and I managed to find my house, and it was taken just before we had our pool installed.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of that weird trippiness of like, we know that there's a pool there now, but the image wasn't. And so, but yeah, it's really interesting to have these snapshots, and in the way with Google Earth, it's really interesting that it's such an it's a true document style. It's not really, well, it's as subjective as Google probably wants it to be, but like something about it, like an aerial shot is really, or at least a satellite shot like that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just what it shows.
It's this God's view of everything, and I mean,
it is.
I know there are so many people. There's this, I don't know, fandom cult around Google Earth or Google Maps. People spend ages just going down streets, seeing if they can find anything funny or interesting. And most of the time it's just weird satellite glitches. Like, what is this? It's just a dead pixel, basically. Just calm down, it's not.
Or it's like, two overlapping images that are like taken at different times.
It's a demon dog. No, it's just a compressed image of a dog. Calm down. But yeah, just, well, especially when you go down the streets that you have lived on, and that's just, oh, wow, I recognize that person. Oh, I remember this. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, so there's I was looking for a pub. Actually, you know the place, the Neon Palms over in Northbridge.
Oh yeah.
A few months ago, we was having like mid-year get-together with Persei costumers, and I didn't know where this place was. It was pretty newly opened, so I was looking around, and I'm looking at the Google Image Map Street View, and as I turned the camera, this place, the sign hadn't updated because obviously it hadn't down thing, but the place where it was, depending on where you was, it was 3 different buildings. Huh. It was like empty, Hans Cafe, and something else. So those ones make me laugh. It's like, depending on which angle you look at, the building is completely different. It's the Matrix glitching.
It exists in all points at once.
It really wouldn't surprise me if some conspiracy theorist nutbag is just like going, they're trying to hide something from us, man.
Probably.
No, it's just, correlating different images from different time periods. No. Stop take the tinfoil off. I still think my favorite one is people who say that NASA images are bad because they mistake, a badly cut moon as data as a JPEG compression. They see JPEG compression as they didn't even cut the moon out properly. You're an idiot. Anyway.
An interesting one with Google Earth or Google Maps. Sometimes there can be weird camera glitches, but it's more like, lighting from the environment doing really strange things. So ice often turns pink for whatever reason on the camera. So people often post those ones. Just a little fun bit of trivia there.
Oh man, Now I really want to start looking for Google glitches because there's always some fun ones out there. Or wasn't there was a thing a while ago. There was they had to be very careful because there's certain streets in, of course, certain parts of the world where, well, prostitution happens. So they had to be like, we got to be very careful what we post because there was some very shady and unsavory stuff happening on Google Earth. And I'm not sure if this one is legit or not, but there was the tale of the boring couple who sued Google Earth. So there was a couple that sued Google for invasion of privacy, and their names are Aaron and Christine Boring.
Okay.
And apparently they sued Google, and I think they got themselves removed. I don't think they ended up winning any money. And from what I can see this article, that's when Google started to remove recognizable faces and license plates for those privacy reasons as well.
You can't really get a lot of information from a license plate, but oh well.
Yeah, but I think there's been history where people have used it to track people. I'm very wary about it myself. I have deliberately obscured license plates on some of my photography stuff. When we were dealing with our own photo shoot, I didn't bother with that because I knew the people who were having their photos taken, they were kind of fine with it. They were there. But when it's like a random car on the street,
yeah,
I tend to blur that shit. I'm just weird that way. Also with kids' faces, tend to blur them a bit.
Yeah. So this house, I don't know if the interior is the same location, and if that interior still looks the same today, but I love it. It's this 80s retro futuristic kind of look, and
I don't know why they didn't take the couch though. It's such a nice looking couch.
Yeah, they're selling the place, but it's still fully furnished. Do they just have to quickly get out of there and witness protection or something? I don't know.
I think if you go back to the original script and stuff, it's a corporate house. It's corporate housing. So the reason why you're there because it's the house given to the Murphys through Murphy's job. And the reason why they move is because the Murphy's wife and son, because the names was never established at this point, they go and move to the moon base.
The moon base.
However, I do believe the interior and the exterior are different locations. I'm just trying to remember. I don't think this was a set, but I think it's a different location. It didn't come up in the commentary, but I think they do talk about it at one point.
Oh god, the moon base threw me off. Now I'm just thinking about Tim
know.
Curry. I'm going to the one place that hasn't been ruined by capitalism. Space. So good. Just soothing to the soul. But yeah, I imagine for these characters, the last thing you want to do, your husband's just died, and now you got to pack up and move. It's a lot of work. So maybe a lot of this, maybe it was, they do all come fully furnished. If you get one of these houses, I don't know.
It could be one of those things that I thought it might have looked weird to not have the furniture when they did the merge. It could just be one of those things where they did all the shots, they redressed it, and then did the next set of shots. Just as a production timeline kind of thing, it probably made a lot of sense.
If it's too empty, it maybe makes it harder to create that connection there.
Yeah. But at the same time, they added the monitors, which is such a corporate America detail.
Oh yeah, so not even a physical person there anymore. It's all automated.
Yes,
that's happened a lot lately. Where I'm trying to make as many phone calls as I can. Be it, well, maybe not Gumtree so much because I don't know what the person's. They're an individual. They're just they could have work at that time, so I don't want to just call. But just when it comes to businesses or whatever, and I will try to make more phone calls. And a lot of the times, businesses just don't even want to deal with you. They will send you through this recursive loop of, oh, here's the frequently asked questions page. Okay, but it's not, you're not answering my, here's the frequently asked questions. Okay, but I need actual help with doctor. Yeah, the more and more, there's no actual...
The automated phone system is the bane of anyone's existence, especially when it comes to government departments.
There's really interesting details in just a little bit of this house that we do see here. So it's got a round window, which you do not see anymore. Sort of feature window, if you. And then these strange cutaway dividing walls where it's almost open plan but not quite.
Yeah.
And having watched a lot of Miami Vice lately, I love 80s architecture and interior design. There's something so stark and severe about it, and I want to see that stuff come back, man. It's great.
I'm trying to remember what the it's not brutalism. Is it something else? I can't remember what it is. But there's a word for it architecturally. Yeah, I kind of miss that. I kind of miss the
brutalism's more 70s. It makes me think of Britain in the 70s.
And that's usually exterior. Yeah, I can't remember. There is a term for it, but yeah, I kind of miss it. I kind of miss it.
It's not quite. Well, Memphis is the name of the furniture, the real bright pop art furniture that they got at that time. But yeah, interesting. If you look through that window, the round window, it looks like this is an apartment rather than a house.
It does. I was thinking the exact same thing for a second, and I'm going, "Oh, there's a balcony, and that looks like it leads to another house." So yeah, it's a location, but yeah, completely divorced from the actual exterior. But that's a common thing. That's very common in movies. Very rarely do you have, even in TV and movies, very rarely do you have an exterior and an interior that are exactly the same. I'm gonna say I think the most famous one in Australia is Neighbours. We have Ramsay Street, this real street with real houses, but it's all shot on set. So the physical dimensions usually don't match. And what's funny is apparently a lot of people go on these tours to look at Ramsay Street in real life. So they keep peering inside these houses, but they're all rentals.
Yeah.
You might cop an eyeful of something weird, but it's not going to be the neighbours' interiors. I reckon anyone who owned those houses moved out so long ago because they're sick and tired of tourists. It's weird because I don't really know. I've never really noticed the exterior of this house for the most part, because I'm usually concentrating on Robocop. But my God, that looking through that round window, that looks just dilapidated. That exterior.
Yeah, because the interior looks really nice, but then exterior... I mean, that's a lot of apartment buildings, really. Like the one I used to live in. On the outside, it looks like an absolute dump, but it was not on the inside.
The interior looked really good.
Yeah.
The interior looked more modern than the exterior.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out... So it would have been a totally separate location, and I'm almost thinking that this is not the first floor. Just the way the light's coming into the building and everything, it doesn't look right for Isn't that weird? Just instinctively I'm going, oh yeah, no, that's not how light interacts on a ground floor location.
It's enough in the moment in this scene where we're not trying to closely analyze it. We just accept it and it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Even if it's like, we got the exterior and it didn't look like it led to an apartment block. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
because it all just looks white. You only see it for a second before Robocop's body is in the way. So
if it had been like, a different lighting setup, or like, he went from turning up in the daytime and all of a sudden it's nighttime, that would be suspension breaking. And I've seen that happen.
I'm amazed at how people just don't notice things, and you especially see this on Instagram, which is a whole world of facade, and I don't find it attractive, but the women who just absolutely face tune the hell out of themselves, and they photo, liquefy tool, make themselves look impossible and unappealing and poreless and like a sex doll, basically. And it amazes me how many people are so utterly convinced of that image that, people in the comment section... there's no question. They just go, "Yep, this is what you look like." Really? Yeah. You think that's what a human woman can physically look like? Yeah. But yeah, doing these movies by minutes, I also noticed that there's so many times where there's very obvious goofs, but even I didn't notice it until I actually really look closely.
That's it. It's there is this idea that I can kind of attribute this, like from even short films I've made. I know the mistakes more than anyone else, and if no one picks up on the mistakes, technically that's job accomplished. They didn't notice this thing that went wrong.
Was a mistake ever made? If a tree falls in a forest,
Oh, in my short film, The Game, there is one gaff on there. It's impossible for me to fix, and it pisses me off that I can't fix it. But nobody's picked up on it yet, so no, don't go looking for it.
Yeah,
it's one I know that's in there. But nobody noticed it, so it's fine.
I was gonna say, I have photoshopped photos just to correct things here, and then maybe there's a strand of hair in the way. I'm like, oh, it looks so obvious that I've edited it. Oh, this is so disingenuous. And then I go, hang on, this is Instagram. Everyone's doing this, and you're just doing it in a very innocent way. You're not trying to give yourself massive tits or something.
Well, this is where you get into the philosophy of image manipulation, where that line is drawn.
Yeah, because I'm a Ridley Scott. I want everything done in camera, and I think that's far more impressive if you manage to get that angle, get that location, get that whatever it is.
Yeah. As a photographer, I like to achieve as much as possible in camera. I also have a background in image manipulation Photoshop. Not to the extremes of the body manipulation stuff. I don't do the Electrify tool. I've never been taught how to do the Electrify tool. It's never bothered me. But, removing power lines and stuff like that, that's within my thing. So it's one of those things of, it really depends on your intention. I come at photography from more of an art point of view. I'm not interested in, say, photojournalism as much. So it's really photojournalism, where it's really about trying to keep the image as unmanipulated as possible. But even in photography and in film, in movies, but specifically in film, you've still got color grading going on. You've still got editing going on. So you really kind of have to go, what is truth? What is reality? Because at the end of the day, it's still curated.
Yeah, it kind of relates to that Kino eye, I think. The filmic concept of the Kino eye. It's just the moment the machine is looking upon the subject, it's going to change the image in a way that human beings can't see the world.
Well, this is why it's weird when, because even a documentary, it's still ultimately biased towards what's been shot, how it's been shot, how it's been edited. People have this idea of the documentary being truth or reality, being real, because it's stylized in a documentary fashion. We have this...
It's very persuasive.
...understanding that it's a document. Yes, but what's the difference between a documentary and propaganda? Because the aesthetics are almost exactly the same. But then you go into intention, and I can get into a real rabbit hole here. But that's the point. It's intent is a huge thing on that. This is fiction. We know it's a fiction, but it's still telling in this particular moment, because this is a big moment. It's about the emotion of what's happening in the scene. So even though it's this big hulking dumbass robot walking through our house. The emotive is so real, and this is one of the best scenes in this entire film.
Yeah,
because of it. If this had none of the music, if this was like Roboflag and had none of the music, and it's just I'm walking through a house and I'm not emoting. Oh, that's where my son Jimmy used to do things.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Honestly, maybe after we finish doing this series, it would be fun to film our own sort of take on this is how you would film it in the remake, and this is how you would film a scene in the original, and just sort of show just how much of a contrast there is.
Well, it's funny because we've had no dialogue now for what, 2 minutes? Okay, we've got dialogue in the sense of the world's most punchable monitor. Spoilers. But the dialogue in this scene tells us nothing. It really is just fluff. It's not. It's telling us that there's nobody here, but we can see all that. It's just flavor.
Yeah.
We have dialogue in the Roboflag scene, and it tells us nothing. So, show don't tell. Simple.
There is probably a lot more, not just because of the runtime, but I think there is a lot more dialogue in the remake because a lot of it doesn't have the confidence to convey stuff any other way.
Yeah, talking loud and saying nothing.
I can't help but focus on that back room there in the scene where it's a small flight of steps, and I'm just thinking, does that really give you more room? Like, what's the advantage of putting that little extra room up a flight of stairs that's going to drive you fucking nuts?
I have no idea.
Because there's nothing below it. You would think, oh, well, if you raise that floor up, you could have storage underneath. No. There's nothing under there.
No. So what it is basically it's a raised roof in the living room that's angled. So you tend to not really need high ceilings on kitchens and stuff, but like some people like high ceilings in living rooms because it gives it a more.
Oh no, I don't mean the ceiling. I mean it's this extra floor almost. It's a pseudo second floor.
Yeah, but that's what I mean is that they've tiered it up to bring the floor up to be more on level with the roof, whereas the living area, the lounge, the living room, whatever you want to call it, is more spacious. It's probably because it's narrower but longer. It's probably just to give it a bit more. Oh god, I'm not an architect. I don't know
because I lived in a place like that. It was this ugly. It was a very 80s house. We didn't live there for very long, but like. Everything, both of the living areas were sunken, and the amount of times we would just have bleeding toes because it's just like, why are these really sharp stairs here? Why do we need this?
I don't know. I kind of want a sunken conversation pit in the middle of a living room.
I think just that it would be fun, actually. That's just for aesthetics.
No, I think from a design perspective, I think the architect was trying to add height to compensate for the lack of width. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Maybe.
And they probably could turn around and go, oh, it's a 2-story house. No, it's not.
Almost.
Almost.
That's like when I was looking for a place and saw the listing for this one. They said it was a 2-car garage. I'm like, no freaking way 2 cars fit in here. I mean, maybe if they're two
go-karts.
or 2 go-karts. Yeah. Yeah. No, what they count it as is, but you can park a car in the driveway.
Yeah.
That's garage. That's freaking okay if you say so.
But technically, by that, you could park an extra 4 cars on your front lawn. Doesn't mean you've got 6-car park garage.
Yeah, what the hell? Real estate agents, man.
Yeah.
Should we fucking tackle minute 57?
I do have
Robocop
some more
2014?
notes.
Okay, go for it.
Because one quick note: the script originally had this section have music. I'm so glad they didn't go with that. Because again, going back to the commentary, Paul continues talking about Paul Duras mentioned that, but this is the quote I liked. Paul describes that this scene has a paradise-like feeling. To quote him, a feel of paradise lost. And as soon as you said that, I was like...
Yeah, I said that.
Wow, yeah. I never thought about that, but yeah. It's returning home, but it's that idiom, you can never return home. Like, he's come back, but this is not his home. And Paul actually remarks that this particular scene is the one where he felt he could make his mark with this film. Even goes on to say that he never storyboarded this scene because he felt he knew it so well. That's pretty amazing. Like, he had the confidence to go, no, I know how to shoot the fuck out of this. Also, one quick mention is Ed actually talks about how Orion wanted to cut this scene because it didn't have enough action or, quote, robots. But he also says that this is the scene of the movie that gives the movie its heart. And I'm completely on board with that.
Yeah, it does give it that emotional core. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, the most important thing in any story is you could put all the special effects and explosions and action scenes and everything in there, but if it's not about family, but what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have been watching the Fast and the Furious movies and I'm going, yeah, even though it is just a big dumb action movie with all the car chases and stuff, I found myself kind of enjoying these characters and wanting them to come back, and
grounding outrageous things with something as simple a concept as family is a smart move.
Yeah, so I don't know why we get movies like we come back to this a lot with the remakes. Like, how do movies like this happen? How do they fail on the most fundamental levels of storytelling? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
corporate greed.
Are we ready? Are we ready to get gaslit?
You've given us a great segue, so yeah, go on with it.
Alex, how do you feel? I feel fine, Dr. Norton.
Alright, so this minute begins with Murphy and Lewis reuniting and ends with Lewis basically carrying the movie on his own damn back with his own...
Yeah,
he's the only one. His singular ability to emote when no one else can.
Yeah, but the guy just got out of hospital. He really shouldn't be carrying that much load. No.
I know, he's going to break his back.
Yeah, no, my only comment, my comment line is, "Here comes the man in black."
Yeah, because he says, "Oh, you're finally the right color now."
Color. That is a great line. As bad as it is, it's fun. Oh my god, at least it's funny. God.
There's humor. There was an attempt made to be something. Yes.
He has more of an emotional connection to the offsider we barely see than his own wife and kid.
Yeah, no, I think he has more of a romantic connection with his police partner, detective partner, yeah.
And as I keep bringing up, I still can't remember if Lewis is in the rest of this film. I'm surprised when he is. Because cool, Lewis is in it. Yeah. I really don't have much to say, but it is good to see that. I like the camaraderie between the two. I like that it at least starts pushing the movie forward. Like, you know, this whole thing of now we got the revenge plot happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Murphy's like, oh yeah, I reunited with my family, but that ain't my home anymore, man. And that's just, I hate the way he talks to Lewis. You see it, like, he gets all gangster and like, it's so cringe. I forgot until this minute. I watched it. I went, oh, that's right. Like in the opening scene, he was doing this as well. He thinks that in order to talk to a black man, he has to fucking.
Oh god. You know, I actually, it's so bad. You're surprised that Robocop isn't holding his fucking taser sideways. Fuck.
Oh my god. Yeah, man. I'm so down with my homie Lewis. Like, please, dude, please stop talking like this.
I'm trying to remember who made the joke. I'm home with the Downies. I can't remember who made that joke. And
I hope Robert Downey Jr. made that joke.
Yeah, I'm definitely talking about RDJ. Yes.
Yeah. And again, I feel like Lewis could have been a great Robocop here. That would have been a really nice inversion. That's the other thing. Why? Okay, I guess I know why Hollywood's very risk averse. But god, I would love that if they just went, you know, fuck it, let's just do some weird experiments. And here's interdimensional cable TV, and like, what if 21 Jump Street crossed over with Men in Black? Does that do anything for you? That never happened, and I'm very sad.
I just realised why, because then it'd be a very, very not even monotone color palette. It would just be like, you know, a silhouette. I'd feel
black on black on black.
That, but yeah, but the movie's kind of making that joke.
That would actually look really cool. Like, his dark skin, the dark costume. That could be pretty dope, actually.
The one thing I will say about the costume in this particular lighting, it actually shows off the tonality between the matte part of the costume and the glossy parts of the costume.
Yeah.
It's still bad, but
Why do they need to change the to Omnicorp, the name to Omnicorp? I don't understand.
well, in the original script, it was called Omnicorp, and I think in the original novelization, but obviously at some point it got returned to OCP, Omni Consumer Products, which we know and love. And some bright spark genius went, "How about this? How about we call it Omnicorp and keep the logo?"
So clever.
It's almost like, making a Ghostbusters reboot and having the same logo as well. That was a dig. I don't care. I'm tired. I'm tired and I hate this film.
Yep, I guess that's everything. So, where can we find you, Simon?
I guess you can find me after a long rest at Fandom Crossing and Helios photos. I still technically do Kung Pao into the minute. Maybe when my course is finished, I'll have some free time. I'll actually record more episodes of that. But what about you yourself? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at traviandesigns.com and patreon.com/traviandesigns, and also YouTube, where I just go by the name Courtney Colson. Couldn't think of a clever name, so that's what we got. And I think that's all the projects. Well, I mean, that's all the projects you can witness. This weekend I'm going to be repairing my friend's Toyota Camry that he rammed into two other cars.
I'm sure you'll be documenting it on Instagram.
Oh yeah, so you can probably see it on my Instagram, which is Courtney and Ivy now. I've changed the name because
I noticed that.
Yeah,
you're no longer prime. You're in a relationship.
Yeah, I'm not alone anymore. I have my girlfriend. Her name is Ivy. She is a...
You have an engine to keep you warm at night.
Yeah, exactly. Saab 900S Cabriolet.
Just be careful of carbon monoxide.
Yeah, you gotta put an exhaust pipe on that thing. What do you call this? What do you call this? Oh god, it's a quote from Christine as well. Like, put an exhaust thing on that, or I'll throw you out. And anyway, I'm ruining this. I'm tired. I don't know. Shut up.
That's okay. In your delirious stupor of tiredness, you can go check us out at Simplecast, Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, where we do have YouTube as well. Pretty much your favorite ways to have pods injected into your earlobes. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Write our web address on a dozen post-it notes and take Instagram selfies and become an influencer for our backs. I don't know the interwebs anymore.
Right, write a message on the back of a $50 note, and through the laws of mathematics and circulation of currency, it will eventually get to us.
Yeah. Just make sure it's Australian currency, and I don't know. I don't deal much with physical currency that more, so maybe it won't never get to me.
Yeah, maybe it never will. But until next time.
Did you know that Zaphod Beeblebrox has 3 heads? So those 2 heads. Well, no, it's technically 3, I guess.
No, he's got 3 heads. Yeah.
Oh, I fucked the joke up, but yeah, whatever.